Hello, friends of Sudoku. Welcome to another medium level puzzle. Again, this is from sudokuexchange.com. And again, this is another demonstration of how to avoid using pencil marks if you don't really have to. So without further ado, let us try to see what we can do here without using pencil marks. This is not going to be a very difficult puzzle. But if you're new to the world of notation-free Sudokus, this might be a very good starting point. First, let's look at the twos here and the twos up here. We are going to start by entering all the easy digits. By easy, I mean digits that don't require any pencil marks at all, such as the two that needs to go here because these twos block across. So a two goes here. We know that a two blocks over here, and a two blocks down here. So one of these can be a two. You might be tempted to input pencil marks here, like so, but what I intend to show you is that this is entirely unnecessary if you think about it a little bit. First, let's continue with the twos, blocking down and blocking over. It's clear that this must be a two. You don't need pencil marks for this. What you need to do, though, is to kind of bear in mind that these two squares can be twos and that these two squares can be twos. You don't know yet which one of these is going to be the two and which is not. But that's usually not very important because as you fill in the grid, it will become clear. The one blocks these two squares, so it's pretty clear that a 1 for row 3 must go here. And it's equally clear that a 1 must go in one of these three squares in row 5. These two ones block down, so a 1 must go here. And now a 1 must go in one of these three squares and in one of these three squares. So we basically have no idea yet where the 1 is going to go in row 2, 5, and 8. So that's a very good reason for not bothering with the ones at this time. There are easier pickings. For example, we do need a 5 for row 3. This 5 blocks this square, so a 5 is forced into this cell here, and the last square, of course, must be a 4. Having found this 4, we can see the 7 blocking over, and we can see this 7 blocking up, so this is a 7. Now we know that one of these must be a 7, and we know that the 7 can't go in this square, so we know that a 7 must go in one of these two squares, and this 7 quite conveniently blocks down, giving us this 7 here. And we immediately scan upwards and we see the 7 blocking up, and we see the 7 blocking down, and we see the 7 blocking over. So a 7 must go here. Only two squares missing here, and they are a 9 and a 6. The 6 blocks here, so this square has got to be a 9 and this must be a 6. We immediately scan down and we see that these squares can't be 9. One of these squares must be 9, so therefore none of these squares can be 9. This 9 blocks across. The only available square in this column for a 9 is here. And now we can just plug in the 3 that will have to go in this square to complete the column. And we immediately scan down. We see the 3 blocking here, the 3 blocking over here. So this is a 3. Now is a good time to think about what these two squares can be. And they can be an 8 and a 7. The 7 blocks here, making this an 8 and this a 7. These two squares must be a 9 and a 8. And these two, therefore, must be a 4 and a 5. We got a 5 blocking across, so clearly the 4 must go here and the 5 here. Row 7 only needs 2 more digits to be complete, namely a 9 and a 4. I can't place any of them, so I move on to something else. I'm tempted to look at these 3 squares. We know that one of these must be a 2. And the two others must be a 9 and a 3. So a 9 can't go here, and a 2 can't go here. So it must be a 3, and these are now a 2 and a 9 pair. The next column we could look at is this column here. We have 5 givens. It's often possible to find out some more when we have 4 or more givens in a row, column, or a box. So let's have a look at this one. We need to find a 4, 6, 8, and a 9. There's a 6 and an 8 here, so this is a 4 or a 9. We actually know that one of these must be a 9 because we've got 9s blocking down. There's a 6 blocking up here, so this is a 4 or an 8. And for the time being, that's about all we can say. So now I want to look at this column here. It needs a 4, 6, and an 8. And again, I can't solve those 3 digits. So now let's look at the first column, for which we need a 3, 4, 5, 8. We know that a 5 must go up here somewhere, and we know that a 3 must go up here somewhere because we got a 3 and a 5 here and a 3 and a 5 here. So these must be a 3 and a 5, and these two must be a 4 and an 8. This 4 prevents a 4 from going here, therefore it's an 8, and the 4 must go here. This 8 blocks over now, making this square a 9 and this an 8. Now is a good time to look at these 3 squares. They must be a 1, 2, and a 6. There's a 2 and a 6 blocking down, so this certainly has got to be a 1. Now we can look at the 2 7s blocking down, making this square 7. These 3 squares must be a 9, 4, and a 6. One of these, therefore, is a 6, and therefore one of these is a 6. Let's have another look at row 6. 3, 5, and an 8. There's a 3 and a 5 blocking this square, which therefore must be an 8, and this is now a 3, 5. There's a 3 blocking up, so the 5 must go here and the 3 here. This square needs to be a 6. And now we've got 3 empty squares here to deal with, namely a 1, 4, and an 8. There's an 8 and a 1 here, so this is a 4. And this is now a 1, 8. This column just needs a 9, which can't go here because of this 9, and a 5. This 5 blocks over, this 5 blocks up, therefore this is a 5. And we remember the other digit here, right? That was a 3, it needs to go here. And that gives us, because the 3 blocks over and this blocks up, a 3 for this square here. 2 squares missing, an 8 and a 4. The 8 blocks over, so the 8 goes here and the 4 here. And that gives us a 6 for this square. These two now must be a 9 and a 4. And this is a 9 or a 4. And this is not a 9 or a 4 because then we would have a 9 and a 4 in these 4 squares. And that would be a so-called unique rectangle. We cannot have the same only 2 candidates in a square like this. So let's input what's missing up here. And what's missing is a 4. Now one of these is a 4. But we knew that. These two must be a 1 and a 6. These two are still a 6 and a 2. I'm thinking something could be done with the 5s. Yes, we got a 5 blocking down, 5 blocking over, 5 blocking over, so this is a 5. And as predicted, this is not a 4 and it's not a 9. 4 and 9s must go here. And since this 4 blocks over and this 4 blocks down, this is a 4, making this a 4 and this a 9. And this must be a 9. This is now a 9, and we do remember that the other one must be a 2, right? And that the 2 must go here and the 6 here, because We have already discussed that. This also must be a 6 now, and this is a 1, making a 1 out of this square, and the center square has got to be an 8. I know that this is a medium difficulty puzzle, but it's a very good demonstration object if you want to train how you think when you solve a puzzle without resorting to notation or pencil marks. As you can see, for a puzzle of this difficulty, pencil marks are utterly useless and unnecessary. They would just slow you down. So this is how I go about solving these kinds of puzzles. This is exactly the method that I use. Of course, in more difficult puzzles, more thinking is required, but that is why we solve Sudokus, isn't it? To enjoy the thinking process. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.